When her baby was about 8 hours old, so she's in this hospital room, 16-year-old, holding her precious little adorable baby girl with a head full of hair, whom she named Kamiyah Mobley, when a woman walks into the room. And she had actually driven all through the night through North Carolina. 16-year-old Shania did not know this. All she saw was a woman walking into the room dressed fully in scrubs, green pants, flowery top, with a smile on her face, and she assumed, like any normal person would, that this was a nurse. Gloria walked over to her, began talking to her. This is when 16-year-old Shania kind of opened up to her and told her she didn't know what all she was going to do. You know, she was a young mother and the father was in jail, and that, you know, she just loved her baby and she was, you know, happy, excited to have her, but there were so many unknowns. And Gloria sat there and listened to her, comforted her, and then told her that she needed to take her precious baby, Kamiyah, to get her temperature checked and a couple tests, and that she would bring her back in a few minutes. Well, Shanara told Nurse Gloria that her mom was on the way in, that she really didn't want her to take her yet. And this is when Gloria told her it'd be just 15 minutes. Don't worry, get you some rest, relax, it's okay. Well, as Gloria was walking out of the room with the baby, in comes Shanara's mom. Shanara's mom was like, oh, there's my grandbaby. Give me that grandbaby. Gloria said, no, I have to take her to get these tests. Oh, please, I just got here. Why are you going to take her from me? She's like, I got to take her to these tests. She didn't want the grandma did not want her to leave with the baby. She had just got there, but she thought, okay, just a few minutes. So she went over and sat with her daughter. What Shanara and her mother did not know at this time, Gloria, who had driven all through the night from South Carolina, was not a hospital staff. She was a distraught woman who, according to her, had had a miscarriage a few months prior and was looking for a baby. As time went on and 16-year-old Shanara doesn't have her baby back, another nurse comes in and she was like, hey, my mom's here. Can you go get my baby? The nurse is like, well, okay, where is the baby at? And she's like, well, you know, this nurse came and took her, said to get some tests. So she made some phone calls. And the nurses, they're calling, and now they're getting frantic. They're calling all around. They can't find where this baby, oh, maybe she's in the other nursery. Maybe she's in the, I can only imagine how long it took them to finally realize that that baby was not in that hospital. But by the time they realized that that baby was long gone, at this point, investigators are being called, cops are being called, they're interviewing her. Shanara is hysterical. She is crying so hard she can barely breathe. The cops go and look at the security cameras, and this is where they see these photos of this woman right here, which is Gloria. And it did not take the hospital long to realize that she was not a hospital employee. Investigators started questioning Shanara about Craig, okay, and thinking that Craig was involved with the selling or the taking or the kidnapping of their baby. The way that I kind of got it from watching Craig do interviews is that maybe they even made Shanara believe that for a second, that maybe he could have been involved in something. And she was mad at him. She didn't even want to talk to him at some points, and it was very difficult on them. The next thing you know, the correctional officers at the jail called him downstairs, took him out a back door, because this was going crazy in the media. I mean, people were seeing it all over, this missing baby. This guy is in jail. People were protesting, let him out. He's the father. What's he's in there? He's in there for some green, like his baby is missing, like let him out for the love of God. And the correctional officers took him out the back door with his bag packed, opened the back door, pushed him out, and shut the back door by himself. No ride or nothing. He got home, was comforted by his mother, and then from there, Shanara and Craig would have a very long journey ahead of them. They looked for that baby girl, and they pleaded to the media, they pleaded to the public, they did search parties, they did everything that they could, and days went by, then months went by, and eventually years went by, and Kamiyah never was found and never came home. She would go on to have other children as well as Craig, and you know, they would celebrate her birthday, but they ended up splitting up and going separate ways. But, you know, they had their own separate lives, but they always had this connection of this baby girl that was out there somewhere. All while flipping the coin, Gloria is raising this precious baby girl. Now, she changed her name to Alexis. She went home with this baby and told her boyfriend or husband that she was living with at the time that believed that she was pregnant with his child, that this was his kid, and he was so happy to have her. Matter of fact, he paid child support for that girl for 18 years. He was there for every little thing and believed her whole entire life up until a few years ago that that was his kid. According to Gloria, she was in a relationship. Okay, she had it hard with this guy, and she had 2 sons already, and she got pregnant, and he was excited, and she really felt like this baby was going to fix them. She said that she had a miscarriage and she did not know it. She said she continued to grow. She believed she was pregnant the whole time up until the very end when she found out that there was no baby there, and that's when she kind of flipped out and then went on that drive and took the baby back. She gave the little girl a good life from all that we can tell and from what Kamiyah says. She had her in church. She was in dance. She was in all kind of little sports things. She went to, good schools. This is according to them. She did really good in school, and she was a mama's girl, and she had her 2 brothers, okay? And she had her dad, who eventually split up with the guy that Gloria said was. Gloria had fake birth certificate for her, fake social security card. She had it all until Kamiyah got 16. Kamiyah wanted to drive. She went down to the DMV, and that birth certificate wasn't good enough. They needed the one with the authentic stamp, not a copy like she had. She wanted to drive. She wanted to get a job. The woman who had took her, who was playing her mother, told her, you don't need a job. You're in school, whatever. She was like, no, I want to get my own money. And it just became a source of friction between the two until eventually Gloria broke down and told her what happened. Told her she took her. However, as time went on, it obviously got to her a little bit because at some point, Kamiyah confided in one of her friends. And she told her friend, hey, I'm this kidnapped baby from here. Showed her the newspaper articles or whatever and said, that was me. Like, my mom took me or whatever. Don't tell anybody. Pinky promise. Pinky promise, please don't tell anybody. Well, the little girl went and told her mama, and the mama called the tip in, and they began to investigate. When they began to investigate, they ended up getting a warrant and getting the DNA, and they found that Kamiyah was indeed the 16-year-old girl, Shanara's, and Craig's little girl. Now, this should have been a happy ending. They got their daughter back. Their daughter was alive. Everything was well, but it wasn't a happy ending. Shanara, the biological mother, describes finding out that her daughter was alive in a very terrible way, in my opinion. FBI showed up to where she was at and said, hey, we need you to come down to the station tomorrow at 9 o'clock. She said, did you find my baby? Yes, we found her, and she's alive. She said she still remembers that none of them were smiling. None of them seemed happy except for one lady was smiling. And she was thinking, like, why aren't you guys happy? Like, you just, this is a huge case, right? You've solved it. Why isn't anybody smiling? And then they kind of told her the story that she had been living with this woman, and she considers this other woman her mother, but that she wanted to FaceTime. So they FaceTimed. And that first initial FaceTime between the mother and the long lost daughter was amazing. She said that she was squealing. She was so happy, both of them. It was just like that connection. But then it started to get rocky because Shanara and all of her pain was just ripped open again every time Kamiyah called Gloria mom. And she said, well, she is my mom. She's always been my mom. And so it was a lot of struggle. However, Gloria was arrested. She took a plea deal, and she ended up getting sentenced to 18 years in prison. And Kamiyah, the stolen baby girl, who considers that to be her mother just as well as her biological mother, was there pleading for her not to get much time. She didn't want her. She said, I know she did something wrong. She needs to go to prison, but she gave me a good life and she loved me. And then you got the biological parents there saying, no, she robbed us of our lives. She got sentenced to 18 years, and this made the family even more strained. All the biological parents wanted was their daughter back. Their daughter that they had cried about, missed, loved, celebrated birthdays. And all Kamiyah wanted was Gloria, the woman who pretended to be her mom, out of jail. And there's no winners in this case. There's no winners here. And it's heartbreaking. It's just terrible. It's terrible. I can't imagine.